And it was almost this light bulb moment, not to put her down in any way, but to help me to see that we all play to our strengths and that we all do it differently and that it's absolutely perfect that way. And I don't need to feel bad because I'm different than Andrea, that I need to like lean toward Andrea in ways I want to develop, but really exist happily in my own motherhood and not be ashamed of it at all.
You're listening to the Mindful Mama podcast, episode number 316. Today, we're talking about rocking different parenting styles with the hosts of the Family Looking Up podcast. Welcome to the Mindful Mama podcast, now with over 1 million downloads. Here, it's about becoming a less irritable, more joyful parent. At Mindful Mama, we know that you cannot give what you do not have. And when you've calm and peace within, then you can give it to your children. I'm your host, Hunter Clark-Field's Mindful Mama mentor. I help smart, thoughtful parents stay calm so they can have strong, connected relationships with their children. I've been practicing mindfulness for over 20 years. I'm the creator of Mindful Parenting, and I'm the author of Raising Good Humans, a mindful guide to breaking the cycle of reactive parenting and raising kind, confident kids. Welcome back to the Mindful Mama podcast. So good to connect with you. Brand new welcome. If you're new here, what a great episode to join me for. This is going to be a super fun episode, so welcome to you. Today I'm talking with 3 people. So it's a little bit of a different kind of format of the podcast. I'm talking to the hosts of the Family Looking Up podcast, Andrea Nielson, Beth Millward, and Camille Ward. And we have a lot of fun in this episode, as you'll hear. Between the 3 of them, they have 15 kids from the ages of 2 to 20, and they each parent really differently. And we talk about different parenting styles and, allowing and accepting all these different styles and acknowledging our strengths and owning our accepting ourselves and our different styles as we are, because we're going to have as many different styles as we are people, because parenting is not about being this certain particular role. It's about being you ultimately, right? We talk about the struggle of comparison, appreciating others, and of course, accepting ourselves for who we are. So I cannot wait for you to dive into this episode with me. It is so fun. We laugh a lot in this episode. But before we dive in, I have to announce, if you are a coach, like a parenting coach, or maybe you're a therapist, or a teacher or doula, or maybe you're just like a crazy parenting junkie and you just love learning about these things, you should know that we are opening up a brand new round of the Mindful Parenting Teacher Training Program. And this program gets enhanced and revamped. We now have mentors who are also coming in to help. And we're going to kick it all off with a workshop that I'm holding on November 18th. And so it's a 2.5-hour workshop. It's called Be a Mindful Parenting Coach, Change Lives and Earn an Income. And it's with myself and special guest business coach, Kaylin Asher. And we're going to talk about the inner work that it really takes to stand in your worth in the helping and healing business, how to lead a heart-centered business that's actually profitable. Kaylin's going to talk about the big mistakes parenting coaches make in their businesses and how to fix them, and of course, how to just serve your clients with more depth and presence. And so it's on November 18th. We have limited spaces available. You can find it at mindfulmamamentor.com. Under the resources page, you'll find a link for the workshop. And if you end up joining the Mindful Parenting Teacher Training Program, we're going to refund your ticket price for the workshop as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to diving into talking about this work. It's so powerful and beautiful. So check it out. It's at mindfulmamamentor.com. Check it out under the resources page. It's called The Workshop is November 18th. All right. So that out of the way. Shall we dive into this episode? I think so. Yes. All right. Join me at the table as I talk to the hosts, the wonderful hosts of the Family Looking Up podcast. Yes, I'm excited to talk to you guys, your fellow podcasters. I mean, I know why I started the Mindful Mama podcast. I started in a kind of a different way, but I wanted to have these conversations because I was like, part of me is like super selfishly like, I want some help. I want to talk to these like smart, amazing people. Is that why you started the Family Looking Up podcast?
Well, it was a similar thing where Beth and I were running partners, and you just have mom struggles all the time. So whoever you're running with, whoever you're talking with, you're always talking about the struggles you're having in your home. And we were just searching for answers, searching for solutions to some of the problems we were having. But also, we just really love to laugh, and we find a lot of humor in some of the things that maybe people don't think are so funny. And we were searching for a podcast that would bring us that humor without all the swear words or just like the crass humor. And so we thought, well, let's start a podcast where you can listen with your kids in the car and get a little laughter while you're trying to learn about motherhood.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, because you really can't listen to like the one podcast that made me laugh the most ever, ever, ever was my dad wrote a porno. And you really can't listen to that with your kids. No,
when your kid goes to preschool and is like, oh, my mom was listening to the porno on the way here.
But the title doesn't give it away at all. I think this is probably safe.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And it's so very Midwestern of you. I love that. You're like, I don't want any swear words in my podcast. It's so cute. So what were you struggling with at the time? Like in the beginning, what were some of those early struggles? Do you remember any of those?
I think it's just kind of those things like, so we're in kind of different stages of motherhood, Beth and I. Camille kind of runs the whole gamut. So I guess we should first say how many kids we have. So
there's a lot between you.
I have 4 kids.
I have 5 kids. My oldest is 11 and my youngest is 2. So I have like the younger set of kids in the group. Andrea's kids my youngest is
11 and my oldest is 20.
I have 6 kids. So I am the most insane of all of these people. My oldest is 20 and I really wanted to drag the whole thing out so it would never end apparently. So my youngest is 5. So I go 5 to 20. So I'm kind of the 2 of them
put together.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I just quick question for you, Camille. Yes. Do you love babies?
Apparently.
It's funny because I grew up almost as an only child. I was so far after, I was one of those menopause accidental babies. So my siblings were really grown by the time I came around. And
I didn't know how it worked.
I had no idea what I was signing up for, I guess. I don't know. But I did love to go to my friends. They had a big family and my husband comes from a very large family. And so I really honestly wasn't even confident that I could be a good mom at all. I warned my husband when we were engaged. I was like, honestly, you might really just want to cut bait and run. I mean, because I think I probably am going to be a terrible mom because I don't like kids. And I don't know how to interact with him very well because I was the youngest. And he just laughed his head off at me because he's like, "Oh my gosh, you're ridiculous.
Don't worry, you'll have 6 and figure it out.
Don't worry, you're ridiculous." And the thing that I learned was you really have no concept of how well or how much you're going to love those kids until they're there. And so as I had kids and I realized I really do love to be a mom. That doesn't mean I love it every minute. Doesn't mean that I love it for this many years of little kids, but I do love it. And I feel like that's one of my callings here. So that's what I do.
Oh, okay. So you're not like my theory about people who have a lot of kids is that once your kids get a little bit old, you're like, I want another baby.
No,
and then you're just like,
no, it wasn't like that for me.
I think that was more my problem.
Yeah,
than
it
yours.
was. Yeah, for me, I felt like that's how many I was supposed to have. I had that many, and it turned out great.
Wow.
But you, Beth?
Well, I didn't listen to any higher powers or any suggestions from anyone. I just saw a tiny baby and I was like, all right, I guess I'll have another one. And I was like, is this a bad idea? Likely, but look at it. It'll snuggle. Oh, it's so cute.
Oh, I know, because they stop snuggling. My daughter's like going into 14 and her hugs, she's like a stiff board that I hug.
And they start to smell really weird, They go through a weird smell stage.
Yes, I totally interrupted you guys. So you had, and you guys have very different parenting styles, right? As you kind of just talk about these different things. So, all right. So what are the different styles you're kind of approaching with? You'd say?
So I am the we're calling it the immerse your children in adventure. We'll say adventure. Let's say adventure. I
Yeah.
immerse them. I really I am not very structured. And for me, I'm very much like a Saturday morning. All right, everybody, we're going to the mountains. Find some boots, find some gloves, find some hats. We're about to go play in the snow. And I can just load up all 5 of my little kids and go and do that. And to me, that's really important that they're adventuresome, that they are confident. I just love watching my kids climb up things when my mom friends are like, oh my gosh, what's he gonna happen? He's 2, he's gonna fall. And I'm like, isn't it awesome that he's so he can do it? He's so proud of himself. I find so much joy in that autonomy and them just going out and just doing it. To me, that's really what I value as a mom. And so we call me the adventuresome mom.
Yeah.
I
Beth
would
is the
agree.
adventure-packed, spontaneous, let's go do it mom.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would say I'm the opposite of Beth.
I
Yes.
love that. Oh no, you're the opposite. I can relate to you, Beth, though, because my daughter is a super climber, and I'm of the school of they have to figure out their body and they have to know their own limits. And I would kind of
Yeah.
spot. I would do a lot of spotting,
Yeah.
but she scared so many other people's other kids' parents would be freaking out, and they'd be like, "It's okay that she's at the very top of the playground of the old school swing set, and she's
Yes,
she's
back
5.
when-
She's good."
Back when it was allowed to have 30-foot high swing sets, they would never allow those anymore. So you got to find the really old playgrounds
Yeah.
and just be like, go for it. The worst that'll happen is you'll break every bone. Let's
Watch
go.
out for the rust. It'll be fun.
Oh my God.
Catching-
Do you guys have merry-go-rounds? Or you probably don't even call them. You probably call them
yeah.
something else in the Midwest. But it's so hard to find an old school merry-go-round these days.
Yeah.
And then we found one, and my kids and I was like, "Let's go really fast, you guys." Ran them around super fast, and they were petrified.
But I
That's
keep
awesome.
throwing up. Stop, Mom.
Well, yeah,
So-
I feel like I'm the opposite of Beth. We like adventure, but I like structure. So I like to have things organized. On a Saturday morning in my house, it would be, okay, guys, we're going to get chores done. This needs to be done. And then after that, I've planned that we're going to go for a hike. Or, to me, I like structure. I like boundaries. I like to feel safe in my little controlled compartment of my house. So I'm more of a structured, organized mom.
So I am, it means a lot to me to be able to connect emotionally with my kids. So we do a lot of, we talk a lot with each other. We spend a lot of time together. I love to hang out with my teenagers. They just get more fun, in my opinion. The older they get, the more fun they get. So a Saturday at our house looks like a lot of projects, but a lot of talking, a lot of laughing, a lot of communicating with each other, and then finding something we can do as a family that we can all really enjoy and laugh about. We have a lot of laughter going on.
Oh, that's beautiful. I know you have your kids. You range the gamut to 20. So
Yes.
are they totally how do you feel about things like the video games and the immersed in Minecraft for 3 hours kind of thing?
Well, I'll tell you, that is something that we all have been talking about on our podcast, is how hard the struggle is. My oldest 2 are actually out of the house now. I've got one living in Hawaii going to college, and I've got another one living in Italy serving a church mission. And then I've got teenagers down to the 5-year-old. So for those ones that are at home, it's hard. It's really hard. And we just had an episode about this because we feel like 3 years ago when we started our podcast, media management and control was our biggest problem probably. And we feel like it still is. And we keep talking to people and getting some better ideas, but we've realized it really comes down to mom deciding what those limits have got to be and enforcing them. It's hard.
Mom
I think
being
that
the boss.
Yeah, I think that that's one of the hardest things for moms. And my 5-year-old and my 8-year-old, I think, actually struggle more than my teenage boys with media management. So that's all on me. So that's something I'm going to take care of. But yeah, it's a difficult thing.
Yeah, because it's something they can't. It's like a drug, right? It
Yeah.
just provides those hits to the brain, and they can't really you can't, it's not like you can be like, well, you set your own boundaries. Like that doesn't work so well.
No, and it's so
with this new
pervasive.
world.
Yeah, it's just so pervasive in every place where we are. Media is just such a huge issue. So
Well, and it's interesting that the three of us are so different in our parenting, but we all three have the same problem. Right? It's like it doesn't. It's just interesting. You think maybe there's a kind of mom that maybe struggles with that more than another kind of mom. But here we are, three moms that are super different in our approach to parenting, and all three of us are still having that same struggle. And so it's like, it just seems like the more moms we talk to and the more interviews we do and the more episodes we do, we're finding out that everyone is so different, but we all have this connecting thread with our kids. We all have such similar struggles, and we maybe have different viewpoints about them. Maybe some people don't feel like it's a struggle at all. Maybe they're like, what's the big deal? I don't care. But it's still the same issue. And it's just so cool to talk to other people and get their ideas and take what works for you and leave what doesn't.
So have you guys come in the middle a little towards each other's parenting styles as you've shared so much information and discussion about it over the years? Like Beth, have you gotten more organized, and Andrea, have you like loosened up a little?
Oh, you goose. You know what? Organization is a chromosomal problem. I just it's not in me. I can't do it at all. But you know what? I strive to be more like Andrea. Like I love like her house. It feels so nice. Like everything has a place, and it's very neat and it's beautiful. And her planner's always all lined out, and she's calling me and telling me what I'm supposed to be doing today. And like, I just love and respect that so much about her. And I try and try and try and try. And it's like, it's just not working good. So it's like my small efforts are still nowhere near hers, but yes, I'm way more organized in a lot of ways than I used to be. Maybe out of necessity when I had so many kids that I was like, oh, wow, we have to like, people have places to go. Like, I got to figure this out. But like, I think that's my philosophy, or maybe my game plan is just to continue to surround myself with moms that have these strengths I don't have, so they can just help me through it so I can get a little bit better. And then Andrea swoops in and saves the day and calls me and says, Beth, we have an interview right now. And I'm like, cool, I'm on it. Here I come.
Well, the one thing I've learned too is that like, it's okay for us to be different, but if there's something like that I admire, like I love the relationship Camille has with her kids. I love Beth's spontaneity, even though it stresses me out, but I can kind of lean towards those ways. Like my family runs best when I'm being who I am supposed to be. Like my family runs best when I have organization and when I have those boundaries set, because that's when I'm happiest and I feel like I'm working at my best. But that doesn't mean when I see things in other moms that either from Beth and Camille or the guests that we interview, when I see things that I really admire, then I can just kind of lean towards that way a little bit. Like think, okay, I'm never going to be the mom that like drops everything and says, we're going to go to Disneyland this weekend. Like that's not going to be me. But
that's a great idea though.
Saturday morning, I could see you doing that. I'm sure you probably have that. But I could try maybe sometime just be like, hey guys, this morning we are just going to go to the pool. We're going to go to the pool, and I don't care if things aren't done. We're just going to go. Like there are little things we can do if we see things that we want to try, but it doesn't mean that
we're doing
one
it
way
wrong.
is better than the other. Like we all have our strengths, and I think we work best when we really parent towards those strengths.
Stay tuned for more Mindful Mama podcast right after this break. Okay, so I love Halloween. I love how fun it is, how creative it is. I love making costumes and thinking about being someone else and how fun that is, and helping the kids make costumes and things like that, and dressing up ourselves and giving ourselves a chance to just have fun. And I feel like Halloween naturally sparks creativity, from the costumes, maybe the recipes you bake or the decor you put up, right? And that is one of the reasons why I love KiwiCo as a sponsor for the Mindful Mama podcast, because KiwiCo really fosters that natural creative thinking, and it channels it into hands-on fun for your kids. There are amazing hands-on science and art projects you can get delivered right to your door. They deliver creativity. KiwiCo delivers these really creative, fun, exciting boxes that really convenient for your entire family. And I love these things as an adult. So my older daughter who's 14, recently made a KiwiCo crate with these headphones. And I I can use them. I can literally use them to record this podcast with. They have beautiful design. She put it all together. The sound is great. It's got this lovely, like light wood, and their headphones are amazing. And actually, my niece, who is 9, also made the headphones too. It's really interesting to see like what the different projects are. KiwiCo has crates that foster creativity and incredible STEM and science and art projects for literally every age, like from 2 years old to, 99 years old, right? One of the things my kids love about KiwiCo crates are that these super cool art, science, geography projects are delivered to your door every month. So they always got really excited to see them arrive in the mail with their name on them. And the day the box arrives becomes their favorite day of the month. You'll really be surprised about how high quality the materials are too. These are real engineering, science, and art projects for children. My younger daughter, who's 11, was psyched to see this project and do this project that was made by like a science YouTuber that she follows, and they worked with KiwiCo together. Mark Rober, really awesome. So do your part to encourage your children to be innovators and creative thinkers. They won't believe what they can build and accomplish with KiwiCo. You give them the tools to learn new skills, to build new experiences, and make connections in the broader world. And, the best part is really just watching their confidence grow as big as their smile. I mean, honestly, KiwiCo does all the legwork for you so you can spend quality time tackling projects together, which is so cool. And there's no commitment, so you can pause or cancel anytime. Scare up some fun this Halloween with KiwiCo. Redefine learning with play. Explore hands-on projects that build confidence, creativity, and critical thinking skills. Get 50% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line with the code HUNTER at kiwico.com. That's 50% off your first month at kiwico.com, kiwico.com. Link is in the show notes, which you can find on any device you're listening to this on, kiwico.com, promo code HUNTER. I hear like this self-acceptance of like, this is the way I am, and I'm good with that. But I wonder if like, did it take some time to get to that place? Did you feel like this guilt of like, I'm not as organized as, I know I have scheduling issues myself. And so like, if I was like, working with a very scheduled friend, that I might feel like, oh my gosh, like that whole, like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not as organized? This guilt for not being enough. And, it takes some time to maybe get to that place of self-acceptance. Is that what happened for you guys at all?
Yeah, I think that is huge. I honestly believe this podcast has done that for me. Mm-hmm. Before the podcast, I always felt inadequate. Mm-hmm. I just always felt like, man, I kind of feel bad for my kids. I just don't feel like I'm as good of a mom as my neighbor. And, I see her outside. I see like how fantastic she is. They get to go do all these things and I'm just kind of lame. And I remember I had a moment, as we've had these incredible guests for different reasons. We have communicators, we have lawyers and go-getters, and we have all of these different kinds of moms we talk to. We were talking to a mom who, oh my gosh, like Marilee Boyack is like incredible. Yeah. Like she's written books about like, these are the things your kids should have mastered by this age. And it's like your 8-year-old should be able to pump gas and take care of the gas. Like it's ridiculous how, like, I'm not exaggerating. It's ridiculous. Like I looked through the book and I was like, I don't think I know how to do most of these things. So we're interviewing her and I'm having these simultaneous emotions of, you're incredible. And I am seriously going to raise homeless people. Like I am so worried about my own parenting. But one thing that we always ask for humor's sake, is we ask our guests to give us a mom fail. A time when not a serious mom fail, yes. Like my, I accidentally dropped my child and they got brain damage. Not that kind of mom fail, but the kind of mom fail where you're just doing your best, but it goes wrong and it's silly. We asked her for one of these mom fails. She tells this story about how her refrigerator only has condiments in it, because she never makes dinner.
She hates to cook.
And she was trying to cook, and she was going to spray the pan with Pam, and her daughter-in-law stopped her because she'd grabbed the bottle of Raid and was about to spray it. And it was a hilarious mom fail that I so appreciated her sharing, because I thought, well, I rock at cooking. Like, my fridge is packed with great food. And it was almost this light bulb moment, not to put her down in any way, but to help me to see that we all play to our strengths and that we all do it differently, and that it's absolutely perfect that way. And I don't need to feel bad because I'm different than Andrea, that I need to like lean toward Andrea in ways I want to develop, but really exist happily in my own motherhood and not be ashamed of it at all.
Yeah. And this like discussing it, like this bringing all these things in the open and bringing our fails and our struggles into the open, that's part of what really does that, right? It's like this
Right.
I'm
Absolutely.
not alone piece, right? That's a big
Yes.
part of self-compassion. Like, don't go tell your kids like, or tell yourself that, Hunter never yells at her kids, because that's not true. Like,
Right.
it's like when we bring these imperfections and these pieces of our humanity out to the open, it's like, oh, it's not so scary after all to like
Yeah.
to be open about these things, right?
Yeah, and we
Absolutely.
always say like moms need moms, and that's what's so important. If all we do is compare ourselves to what's happening on the outside, then we always feel like we're not enough. We feel like everyone's doing it better or whatever. And when Andrea and I are talking, and I find out she's actually struggles with something, and Camille actually struggles with something else, and I'm telling them all the time all my struggles, and then all of a sudden, it doesn't make me respect them less. It doesn't make me think that they're not as great and as amazing of people and moms. It just makes me realize that they're people, and I just love them more for it. And I respect their opinion even more now, because I'm like, oh, you're human. Like you understand, as opposed to someone who just keeps all the bad to themselves all the time. It's like, how do I relate with that? Like, I don't feel comfortable talking to that person. I don't feel like we can ever really meet in the middle anywhere. So like, it's just, if you feel like you're alone in this mom thing, it's horrible. It's like this lonely, guilt-ridden place. But when moms start realizing like you're amazing because you're the mom, that's why you're amazing, because you are you. That's all. That's what makes you so great. And so we can talk about all the ridiculous things we do wrong and all the hilarious like spills and
Situations.
accidents and situations and like, oh my gosh, I could go on and on about how ridiculous life is. Then you realize like it's okay. You're a great mom, and so is everybody else. And now we have this whole community that's working together to enjoy it more and to do a little bit better at it.
Hmm. I love that. I love that. So I'm curious about how you each were raised, and like what are some of the good seeds that were planted in you, that you're from your parents, that you're going to bring forward, and what are some of the things that you're going to leave behind, that you want to leave behind, or you've attempted anyway to leave behind?
Oh, this is
And
a good question.
Dang, we're
That's good.
delving into childhood stuff. This is
Yeah.
about to get weird.
Okay, I've got one real quick then. I was raised, my mom got really sick when I was 9 and had a chronic illness. So she was in a wheelchair and very homebound throughout all of my life, after the age of 9. She's passed away now. I think that situation forced the busyness out of her. She couldn't go anywhere that she wanted to go. And because of that, we had a fantastic relationship, because she was there to listen to me. She was a great communicator. She was a hilarious woman. And I've thought a lot about that with my own kids. I feel guilty actually that I'm so busy. She wasn't given the choice. She was suddenly not busy. So I've tried to make the choice to implement those amazing listening skills that she had with me and give that benefit without having to have a terrible chronic illness. And so that's one of the things that I really have tried to bring to parenting. I would say one of the things that I have tried really hard to leave behind is that because she was homebound, she was really filled with a lot of anxiety. And so she really didn't want me to do a lot of things that worried her. And so like I really wanted, in high school, I wanted to do this program my senior year where you became an EMT, but that really scared her that I was going to catch a deadly disease. It makes no sense, but this is what happens when you get locked up. And so instead I did a CNA course, which I didn't love as much. I think I would have loved that a lot more. And so I've tried really hard with my kids. Like when my daughter says she wants to go to Hawaii to college, to not be like, oh no, don't do that. And here she goes off during a pandemic and goes to Hawaii at the very same time that Hawaii had the highest rate of coronavirus in the entire United States is when she went. And I have to constantly fight that because I grew up with a mom that was so worried and would hold me back. So I've tried to not do that on purpose because I can see that I think I would have done a lot more if I wouldn't have had that constraint.
Those are two incredible lessons to bring forward. I mean, both of those, like it's just the reacting against and the like carrying forward. I love that. Listening is like, that's magic, right? It's like so healing. I could see that in you. I could see that in you, Camille. I would love to like sit down in your living room. That would be fun.
Someday we'll all come visit.
I was raised, so my dad was in the Air Force. So I was raised a military brat. So we traveled the world. I mean, I lived for a couple years in Saudi Arabia when I was in elementary school, and they paid for us to travel. So I think I've been to like 30 different countries before I was even a teenager. But I was raised by a lieutenant colonel. So in our house, he ran it like the military. I mean, we had our jobs to do. He'd get up every morning and say, "It's dark 30, guys, get out of bed." Like he would.
Andrea and I are really similar in this way.
So, we were expected to get our jobs done pretty early in the morning, and then we could do. But on the other hand, my mom was a very fun mom. My mom, both my parents were very encouraging in high achievement. And I feel like I was very blessed to be raised in a family where they did a great job of instilling self-esteem. And I think back and I think, I don't know how they did that, but we just kind of felt like we could do anything, or, I just didn't have a lot of concerns about what's the word I'm looking for? Insecurity. And I do think that came from my parents. They were just very, very encouraging.
That's awesome. I can see where your organization came from too.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah. See, it's an
I'm the
unfair
lieutenant colonel.
advantage. I wasn't raised by a man in the military, so technically this is not my fault. I was raised, so there's 6 of us, and we were all born within like 9.5 years. Like we're really close. So
wow.
My mom had this herd of small children. We were a little bit lower income. It was just a lot of chaos and craziness. And my parents just raised us to like, don't be dramatic. There's a lot going on here. Like, we're just going to do it. And we're not going to make a big deal about silly things. And like, I just remember me and my siblings only shopping at thrift stores, but we thought we looked so dang cool. Like we legit, like if my mom would try to take us to JCPenney's, we'd be like, no. Why would we go there? There's an amazing thrift store down the road. And like, I feel like we just felt like we could just wear whatever and be cool with it. Like our hair looked crazy and we were totally fine with it. Like my husband was raised so different from me. And I would talk about like going to high school in my pajamas. And he was like, ugh. My mom would literally kill me. Like, your hair must be brushed. You have to have jeans. You have to have a buttoned up shirt, like very neat and tidy. And my parents were just like, hey, you do you. Like, be who you want to be and just rock it. Like, whatever you're going to do it. And like, now I feel like I've become more insecure since leaving my parents' house. And I just look at my kids and I'm just like, just go in the world. Like, if you love those plaid pants and that striped shirt, that hideous headband, like if you're going to do it, just do it, just rock it and go out there and just be proud of it. And like, I want my kids to just be good with who they are and not get carried away with all the insecurities of like, well, what will other people think? What will people think? And I'm guessing my parents raised us that way just out of necessity. Like, there wasn't another choice. It was so much chaos, so many little kids, but all of us have grown up to be the 6 of us are like literally best friends. Like we love to be with each other.
That's
We
very
have
true.
all these
They do.
memories together. We choose, like, if we could go on a trip, like we choose to be together, and we all kind of have this same, like, really low drama. There's nothing to fight about. Me and my siblings don't fight about things because we just came out of our home thinking there's nothing to be upset about. Just be you.
Wow. Okay, cool. I bet like you must be like, I mean, do you take your kids like thrift shopping now, like for fun? And you're like,
Oh,
no, like
yeah.
do this, don't do this. Like here are the,
Let me show you the match properly. It's really funny because now my daughter is like, hey, mom, do you want to go on a mom date? And I'm like, yeah, where should we go? She's like, do you want to go to Goodwill? I'm like, let's do it. Like, let's do it. And I have had to find some balance with my husband because looking back at childhood pictures, I am like, yikes, mom, like completely unacceptable. What is happening? Why am I in a swimsuit? I'm in 5th grade. Like I have had to rein it in a little bit. So like we try to not buy so many ugly clothes. So at least when they dress themselves, they look somewhat normal. So
So great.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, having a sibling, it's interesting because one of my best friends was an only child growing up, but she was like a homeschooled only child. And I was like really jealous of her for a long time because she got like, as from my point of view, like everything, and all this stuff. And I had my brother and he was a pain in the butt and all this stuff. But I'm like, now I just love my brother. Like I miss my brother. I want to hang out with him. We're like way too far away from each other, sadly. But yeah, I think you guys clearly have given your children the gift of siblings.
We do what we can.
So do you guys ever disagree on how to handle parenting situations?
With each other?
Yeah, disagree with each other. Mm-hmm.
I think we have plenty of disagreements, but all in good fun.
Yeah.
I think we have incredible respect. And in the end, like whenever we were having a funny disagreement the other day about.
I think no, that went beyond disagreement. That was a fight. Okay. Andrea's claws were out.
Yeah. We were having a disagreement about proper etiquette when you're playing games, like how do you treat your spouse? Like, do you play to win no matter what? Or that's Andrea. Or I feel like, hey, my husband made vows to like be nice to me. So he can win. That's fine. But like so apologetically. Right. So we were having this disagreement all in good fun.
Yeah.
And, we're laughing about it. Like it means nothing, but we definitely had our own viewpoints. And Beth was like, girls, we all know Andrea's kids have turned out so fantastic and are so competitive and it's done them good. So let's all hug it out and we're just going to move on. So, we do.
I think we respect each other's parenting and
Absolutely,
it works for each of our kids, the way that we do it.
Absolutely.
So even though we might disagree, but it's not in a negative way. It's
No.
kind of just like, well, I wouldn't do it that way, but it works for you.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like I would never think, oh my gosh, your kid is going to turn out bad. But I do feel like part of the podcast has helped with that
Yes,
because I think
More
because we
accepting.
all of us take our mothering so seriously. Every mother takes her mothering seriously. It's a big deal. Obviously, you've been given a human being. And because of that, we put our best effort into it. And so I think it's very natural for mothers to feel competitive and to look at
Take
the
it
way
personally.
yes, and to look at the way another mother is mothering and say, well, I think your kid's going to turn out bad because I've made a decision to do it differently. And I think that that's a natural thing that happens, but I think it's such a sad thing that happens that we need to fight against that. And I feel like perspective has given me that. I think as a young mother, I did think that much more. But as I've seen kids raised and turn out great, it's made me realize, every mother mothers her own way and it's great.
Yeah.
It really works.
But don't you think that's part of like your own insecurities? Like I feel like
I do,
when
yeah.
I'm insecure about something that my kid has done or something that I have done in the world of parenting and I feel insecure about it, then if someone comments like, oh, maybe you should have done this, I'm all defensive about it, and I don't whatever. And when I'm just like, that's who I am. Like, that's how I mom. And I feel really comfortable with that. Then people's suggestions or ideas don't affect me at all. I take them or leave them. So I think it has a lot to do with how you're feeling about yourself and your parenting. If you're just in a constant state of guilt and shame and remorse about everything you've done, then you just miss out on such an opportunity to take advice from other great moms, because you're just so consumed by your own whatever. Own insecurity.
That's very true.
And during the podcast, I think we've all gotten a lot better at that. Like, I just remember at the beginning, I really told my husband all the time, like, crying, like, I feel so bad that they had to get me for a mom. Like, I felt so bad about it. And like throughout the podcast, it was like one episode we finally called, like, I'm a dang good mom, because we'd finally come to this thing like, wait, like, I'm a dang good mom. Like, sure,
My kids are actually lucky.
Yeah, other moms do lots of great things too. But like, I remember that same turning point of feeling like actual guilt and shame about like my kids having to have me, like, well, poor things. And to like, no, actually, it's great. Like, they're going to be great. They don't need another mom. Like, I'm their mom for a reason. And so I'll do my best.
Yeah. Yeah. So these what I'm hearing is like some beautiful, like, moving from judgment to, acceptance and curiosity, even, like, when we can talk to other people about their ideas, like being open-minded and being curious about what that's doing for them or whatever, and where people are coming from and stuff like that. And I'm wondering also, like, you all have you all have 4+ children.
4 is the new 10.
I feel like every time she talks about our amount of kids, she gets very uncomfortable. She's like, okay,
like,
so many diapers. Like, I'm going to go double up on my birth control. Hold on. Just
totally. Yeah. Yep. But I'm wondering, so how are you guys taking care of yourselves in the midst of like big families that have a lot of stuff going on with them? What are you doing for your self-care, and what are you making a priority? And how do you hold the boundaries maybe around that too?
I think that I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to just say, I think that one thing that is important to remember is that it's so easy to get lost in the needs as a mom. And it took me a lot of years to figure this out. It's so easy. Especially when you have a lot of kids, you can become invisible in all of everyone else's needs. And you feel guilty for taking time to yourself, because you feel like, well, I should be there. I should be doing these things. I think that's a real problem for moms. And it's really important for moms to realize at some point that moms are people too. And moms, I've got to still be Camille. I've got to know who is Camille. And so I had an experience when I had 2 kids and I was pregnant with my 3rd, and I was losing it big time. We lived in an apartment. My husband was in grad school. He was gone all of the time. I was in the apartment as a stay-at-home mom with these 2 really rambunctious kids, and I'm pregnant. And pregnancy makes me feel ragey, like really ragey. That's how I manifest as hormonal. And luckily, my husband was majoring in marriage and family therapy. And so
he didn't start that until she started getting pregnant.
And then he was like, change my major, change my major. I don't know what to do. But one day he came home and he said, Camille, you are so stressed out and you have lost yourself. I am going to stay home all weekend with the kids, and you're going to leave now, and you're going to go just take 3 days. And I remember I was horrified and terrified of the thought of that. I thought, what on earth am I going to do? All my friends are moms. Like, they're with their kids. Like, how? I have no idea what I would do. And I looked at him in this panic, and I was like, well, what am I going to do? And he was like, well, go to a movie. It's like, not by myself. Like, I was just horrified. Well, he kicked me out anyway. And
good for him.
So I started driving aimlessly. Like, I had no idea what to do. It had been so long since I had just had me. I didn't even know how to just be single with me. And I ended up at a bookstore. I wandered in. I saw a book about motherhood. I started reading paragraphs. I sat down in the bookstore seat and I literally read it from cover to cover, and I cried and I laughed. It was the most amazing book. And it talked about how you have to be you and you have to understand that motherhood is funny. And it changed my motherhood, honestly. From that point on, I really started to think, who is Camille? Like, what is Camille even like? So if you like reading, make sure you're planning time to read. If you like to be with friends, you need to include that in your life. You need to find those things that identify you as you, because as you do that, you become a better mother because you're happier and you're more secure and in a good headspace.
Amen.
So one thing that I think helps, which is kind of what the focus of our podcast is with my coping with motherhood, taking care of myself, is just finding the funny. And so I think there's a lot of hard in anything, motherhood, marriage, just work, whatever it is. And I think right now, especially, we just see a lot of negativity out there on social media. I had to just say, I'm done. I can't read it. I can't watch it. There's so much negativity. And so I have found the best coping skill for me is just to find the funny, to find the laughter. And for me, I'm not like a super funny, like Beth and Camille. They can tell hilarious stories and they can just make you roll. I'm not that great of a storyteller, but I love to laugh. I loved growing up hearing my mom cackle with her sister. Like, it's just a great way to relieve stress. And so for me, I'm always looking for the funny. And it's something, if people think, well, I'm not really that funny, like, and they're feeling down, I think it is something that you can work on. It's a muscle that you can train. And so if you're feeling like you're in the dumps, if you're feeling like motherhood's overwhelming, then some things that you could do, you could just tell yourself every day, I'm going to spend 15 minutes and just find funny out there, like YouTube videos that are funny, memes that are funny. Find people around you that want to do, like, you're like accountability partner that's like, okay, every day you need to send me one thing that's funny. Find something that's funny. Or, like, I think it's great to teach the skill to your kids. So say, what happened today that you can laugh about? And a great thing about this podcast too is help me to look for the funny. So before, when maybe I was like, oh my goodness, this is just overwhelming. Now I'm like, this is great material. Like, I can talk about this in our introductions, like what's happening. So for me, that is a great way for me to relieve stress, to take care of myself, is think, okay, what is my focus? Is my focus the negative things that are happening, the negative things that I'm seeing, or is it these things that are going to uplift me and make me smile and laugh? And that makes me a better mom when I'm feeling uplifted.
Love that so much. And I'm like dying to like jump in and share this like crazy thing I found
Ooh,
on
share it.
YouTube. Okay. So you talked about like the random things that make you laugh. My daughter's just introduced me to tiny baking. Do you know what this is?
What? Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. My daughter watches this.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
down.
It's this crazy thing where, so we watched this woman make a teeny tiny peach pie in a teeny tiny kitchen.
It's
with
like
the teeny tiny fridge that opened, the light opened when it went in, and this teeny tiny dough. And she took a big peach and like cut up this peach and made a whole, like, it was hilarious. And just made me like, it's like looking at tiny baby bunnies, I guess.
I mean, that lady is, well, kudos to her for being
Brilliant.
like, who am I? I'm a tiny baker. I have to find my inner tiny baker. And so
I've got this big body.
Give-
I just need to be a tiny
I just need to be a tiny baker. I need someone to build me a tiny fridge and a tiny oven. She's found herself, you know?
She was once
Amazing.
lost, but now,
Now
she's
she's found.
Hallelujah.
In the world of tiny baking.
That's it.
Beth, how are you taking care of yourself?
Oh boy. Yee. Well, I mean, everything they said, very true. We gotta, like, I'm all about, like, I need my mom squad. Like, that is a real thing for me when I am just like going down fast and I am finding no joy in anything that's happening around me. I just know I can go to my people and be like, oh, I hate everything. And they're like, yes, let's talk about it. Like that's when you found your people. Or like when you say the horrible thing, like, oh man, you guys, it happened again. I left the door open. The baby was down the road. And they're just like, oh, and they don't judge. They're just like, oh, that's so funny. Did the cops bring him home? Ha 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 ha. It's like you have found your people when you tell them something, and instead of them shaming you for it, they just laugh with you or cry with you or whatever you need. So I just know like everyone needs their person. And I think the only way to find your people is to start sharing more. So you know who your people are, and you know which people are going to find that really ridiculous thing funny. And you know which people are going to swoop in and bring your Diet Dr. Pepper. And those people because you've told those people your embarrassing things or your things that you thought like, well, I'm officially a bad mom now. I need to tell someone, and they can either confirm or deny what I have said. Like, am I actually a terrible human? And, of course, if they're your people, they'll say, no, you're great. Like, don't worry about that. They'll, and they make up lies of why you're not a bad person. You're totally a bad person. So like, I know like my people keep me going, and whoever that is for you, like, I think it's just important. I think sometimes we think, oh, we feel bad if we leave the kids to go hang out with friends and they need me here to tuck them in or whatever it is. And it's like Camille said, like, if you're not taking care of you, you can't take care of them. And so whatever that is for you, like, go and do it. And hopefully you have some partner, spouse, or something that will help encourage you to do that. And I feel really lucky. I have like a great husband who sees me start twitching, and he's like, all right, go record your podcast, go hang out with your friends, go hike a mountain. Like, I'll take care of this herd of children that I only wanted half of, by the way, but I'll take care of the other half too. And go. So.
Yeah. Find your people.
Yeah.
And don't like, there's like a thing like where we're like, oh, I can't like, I can't make my child uncomfortable for me to take care of my needs, like not feeling alone and things like that. And that's, it's detrimental to your child ultimately, because if you're miserable, your child's gonna be miserable. You're gonna start resenting them ultimately. Like, it's funny how like those relationships can kind of drop away when you first have kids. But if you're in that stage, dear listener, fight against it. Don't keep finding your people. I had my daughters at a birth center, and we had a moms group, and it was like, oh, it was a pain in the butt to get to that thing. It was annoying. Like, it took me like 3 hours to get out of the house, to get into the car, to get to this place, but it was so worth it. It really made a huge difference in my life.
Well, Andrea and I traveled to a different state to get to Beth.
Yeah.
We do that. It's one state,
but it's still 3
but
hours.
it's still 3 hours. And we do that about every 5 or 6 weeks. So we can record several podcasts. And it's an interesting thing. Every single time it happens, we all stress about, I got to get everything ready so I can leave the family we do it for 2 days, one overnight. So I got to get everything ready, and we leave early in the morning, and it's always stressful leading up to it. But then when we get together, it is so healing. It is like you are just filled back up again, because we laugh harder in the 2 days than we have in the last 6 weeks.
Yes.
And so it's worth, I think that's the thing that I've learned, is that there is a way. You just have to find it. When you realize what you need to do, find the way, find the babysitter, or find whatever it is that you need to find, make it work, and get to where you need to be so that you can be filled up again, because it just helps your mental health so much.
That's doubly impressive to me, because I grew up in Rhode Island, the smallest state, and now I live in Delaware, the second smallest state. So driving anywhere more than like half an hour is like, whoa.
I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. No, it's 35 minutes away.
So true. Yeah. It's a different world. It's a different world. Well, we're just really dedicated to Beth. That's the thing.
It's because they get the SOS calls from my husband. They're like, come now.
Well, you guys, this has been so much fun. I love talking to you, and Yeah, it was fun talking to you the first time. The first time we all talked, the ladies couldn't see me, so they were talking to a disembodied voice, and
Yes.
but it was so much fun then, and it's so much fun now. Where can people find out more about what you're doing, and of course the podcast?
Go ahead.
FamilyLookingUpPodcast.com is our website. We have a lot of different resources on there, funny mom fails, recipes. All of our podcast episodes can be found all right there. We've got merch store, a lot of different things. It's a new website and we're adding more all the time. So we're hoping it becomes a really great resource. You can also find our podcast anywhere you find podcasts. We're there.
All right. Any final words for the listener?
We always say you're doing better than you think.
Yep.
So, and we really mean it. Every mom is really doing just better than they think. So keep plugging along.
I love that. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Camille and Andrea, for driving 3 hours to see Beth, and for making me laugh and making the listener laugh, and like bringing your perspective to what you're doing, and coming on here and sharing some time with me. It's been a real joy.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you for
Andrea.
having us on. It's been really fun.
Aren't Andrea, Beth, and Camille wonderful? I had so much fun with them. So great. I love the message, and the reminder that, we got to play to our strengths, and we do it all differently, and that's okay. And that also that reminder of community. And that's like a big thing that's been coming out as I've been talking to, the people in the Mindful Parenting membership, but also the people in the Mindful Parenting teacher training. We are a smaller group and we get to really dive in deep. We're opening up registration is open now for the Mindful Parenting teacher certification program. And we're kicking it all off with a workshop on November 18th. It's called Be a Mindful Parenting Coach, Change Lives and Earn Income. So that's a live 2.5-hour workshop on November 18th. Everything is at mindfulmamamentor.com. Check it out. It's really exciting to dive into the inner work it takes to, to really kind of stand in your worth in a helping and healing business. And I'm so excited to dive into that. So if you're interested in that, check that out at mindfulmamamentor.com. There's a link on the resources page for the workshop, and there are links for the Mindful Parenting Teacher Certification Program. And you can see some of our amazing teachers actually certified under the Mindful Parenting page. It's so great to see them. So yeah, check it out. And I hope this episode has helped you. I hope it's helped you smile and laugh. And I hope you are going to have an amazing week. I wish you peace and joy and fun with your kiddos, and let us all have the ability to not see so many of the problems, all the little things that are frustrating that our kids forget to do and all that stuff, and let us see the joy and the fun, and let us be playful and appreciate this day, this precious day, a gift we have of being here on this earth today. And that's at least the message I need for myself. So if you need that message too, there it is for you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here all to the way to the end. You rock. I appreciate you so much. Appreciate your time sharing it with me. And I cannot wait to talk to you again soon on Friday, on our little Friday episode. So I'll talk to you then. Take care, my friend. Namaste.
Say definitely do it. It's really helpful. It will change your relationship with your kids for the better. It will help you communicate better, and I'd say communicate better as a person, as a wife, as a spouse. It's been really a positive influence in our lives. So definitely do it.
I'd say definitely do it. It's so worth it. The money really is inconsequential when you get so much benefit from being a better parent to your children and feeling like you're connecting more with them and not feeling like you're yelling all the time or you're like, why isn't things working? I would say definitely do it. It's so worth it. It'll change you.
No matter what age someone's child is, it's a great opportunity for personal growth, and it's a great investment in someone's family. I'm very thankful I had this.
You can continue in your old habits that aren't working, or you can learn some new tools and gain some perspective to shift everything in your parenting.
Are you frustrated by parenting? Do you listen to the experts and try all the tips and strategies, but you're just not seeing the results that you want? Or are you lost as to where to start? Does it all seem so overwhelming with too much to learn? Are you yearning for a community of people who get it, who also don't want to threaten and punish to create cooperation? Hi, I'm Hunter Clark-Fields, and if you answered yes to any of these questions, I want you to seriously consider the Mindful Parenting membership. You'll be joining hundreds of members who have discovered the path of mindful parenting and now have confidence and clarity in their parenting. This isn't just another parenting class. This is an opportunity to really discover your unique, lasting relationship, not only with your children, but with yourself. It will translate into lasting, connected relationships, not only with your children, but your partner too. Let me change your life. Go to mindfulparentingcourse.com to add your name to the waitlist, so you will be the first to be notified when I open the membership for enrollment. I look forward to seeing you on the inside. mindfulparentingcourse.com.